Hi everyone, today I'm going to be showing you how to replace the thermostat on a 1999 Jeep Wrangler. This is the 4.0 6-cylinder. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so to get started, you're going to need to drain everything out of the cooling system. So down here is the petcock for your radiator. You'll need to drain it. You just get some old buckets. You'll need to look at your local ordinances and laws on how to dispose of this if you are replacing it. So I will measure out how much I get out of this. Mine isn't going to be accurate because I lost a decent amount of cooling fluid when my radiator exploded. So I don't really know how much you'll be able to drain out of this. So I'm going to go ahead and get this started on draining. So while that's draining there, say I just have it set up to catch, might as well start working up here. So mine is split open, so obviously I have airflow. You might want to take your cap off, will help drain it, release some of the pressure so it'll actually drain. You might also squeeze this to try to get whatever fluid is in there out, so it doesn't drip everywhere. Alright, so to replace the thermostat behind here, there's a bolt down here. I should have shown it before, but it's really hard to get to with the belt in the way. So I wanted to show how to remove the belt so it's easier to get to the thermostat behind this housing here. So down here is my tensioner. It's a 15 millimeter bolt. Go ahead and loosen that up. I don't know, probably 4 or 5 turns, full rotations around is what I did. And then I loosened this 15 millimeter bolt. You can probably have a shorter one, or I went right here with an extension. Loosened that up quite a bit, and it moved this pulley all the way down, out of the way so I could pop the belt off. Now's a good time to inspect the belt and potentially replace it. I also need mine out of the way because I'm going to be replacing my water pump. So I'll show a quick clip on the correct routing of this belt if you have an automatic with an AC compressor right here. So anyways, go ahead and remove that belt so we can get this thermostat housing off. So the thermostat housing has 2 bolts, a half inch here and a ½ inch down here. So go ahead and loosen those. You can disconnect, and I probably am going to disconnect the wiring here. This part really isn't necessary. You can for the heater core, but you don't have to. So go ahead and loosen these 2 bolts off and then flip this up to get to your thermostat. And this, my friends, is a good place to start on why I may have exploded my radiator. Look at how gunked up that is. That is not good. Looks like someone potentially tried to do a gasket seal and did a very crappy job. So, obviously I'm going to clean this all out. As you can see here, trying to get that out of the way. The thermostat goes, well, I might need a flathead. The thermostat goes the spring side in. Normally that spring side will go in. So go ahead and take the thermostat out, clean this all up. You want basically some lacquer or acetone to clean this off. It is a very good place to start. So go ahead and get this all cleaned up here and in this thermostat housing so that yours doesn't look as bad as mine. Or hopefully it doesn't. So if you're going to scrape it, use plastic because you know you're not going to damage anything. You can use metal. You got to use the right metal, but you're not going to damage anything if you scrape it with a plastic. If you use metal, which you might need to get it really clean in some of the areas, just be very, very careful that you don't scratch it because you want this as flat as possible for the gasket to go back on. So go ahead and clean that up as best as you can. just so you know, if yours is as bad as mine, I'm just going to go to an auto parts store today and buy a new housing. You can buy new housing. It comes with a thermostat and everything. You can see how badly corroded that the upper coolant pipe or hose is right there where that connects on. That's really bad. It's probably pretty bad behind the heater core hose there. So I was just having a real hard time cleaning this. It just doesn't seem worth it for 20 bucks. I'm just going to replace the whole thing. I also, I'll include parts for this. Bought a new pipe here for the heater core since I'm going to be doing the water pump as well. So make sure, see there's an inner lip there that the thermostat sits on right here. I had a bunch of gunk in mine, so I cleaned mine out really good because I want my thermostat to sit flush there so that it works properly. So I'll take a minute to talk about what temperature setting I went with, what I had previously. I don't think you're going to be able to see it on this. You kind of can. So it says 180 degrees Fahrenheit. I went with a 180 previously. Where'd this thing go? This junk one, well, honestly it was probably fine. It doesn't look bad. Might be able to see this one better. 195 degrees Fahrenheit. Look how bad that is. They put a gasket over and then use sealant. Jeez. Anyways, I went with a lower temp because I want my engine running cooler. If you are in a warmer place, you might want that. This is my off-road messing around. This isn't my daily driver. I don't really care about fuel efficiency. I care about keeping the engine cool because I don't want my radiator blowing again. And so I went with a lower temp. That way it'll start cooling the engine quicker and hopefully keep it cooler longer before it overheats. So that's why I went with the lower temp on the thermostat. So I strongly recommend one of these little scrapers. You can see it's just a razor blade on there. It's a soft enough blade that you can scrape everything off of there. As you can see, you really should put a rag or something to block stuff from going in. I got some junk in there, so I'm going to use a shop vac and vacuum all this up. So you need to clean off that old gasket as best as you can, and then you can just feel with your finger and make sure that it's flat. If you feel any bumps, you need to go through and clean it some more. So, and then I'm going to do one last acetone wipe down there. So with the thermostat, if you're like me and you're replacing the thermostat housing, I have those electronics. You can see this piece here that I pulled out of here. I had a really hard time. I basically had put it on the ground to give myself leverage and get it out of there. I don't know what size. I just used one of these. And then I used a wire brush in order to get that clean because it was filthy. Get some of that rust off. So you need to put that on your new housing here. Interestingly enough, this is a universal one. So it came with a plug if you don't have an electronic piece there. So what I'm deciding, if you could see the layout here, so you would think that these two are separately divided, right? It has a wall here, has the gasket. If you look here, that's cut out, at least on mine. I assume it is on everyone's. So I'm going to make the executive decision to remove this little section here of the gasket. I'm just going to cut it, probably with some scissors. And I'm not going to put any of that, any of this gasket maker on that section. I'm just going to do it around the exterior here because really that's all it needs. It needs it around the exterior because of how this is laid out. That's what I'm going to do. Hopefully it goes well. Hopefully I don't have leaks or any issues in the future. So I'm going to go ahead and get that set up real quick. So I got this tightened down. I don't really have a torque spec, however, it's one that you can easily watch because it's very easy to see. If you see any leakage from there, you don't have to undo anything. You can just tighten it down even more. So I put that gasket sealant on it. It's just some cheap, I mean, it's oil resistant, but the guidebook specifically asks for this RTB silicone is what you're supposed to use. So just some cheap bottle from your local hardware store. You can see I got it gooped up on the other side, stuck it on, got the holes lined up, and then got this side gooped up. You only have the 2 bolts there. Obviously the shorter one goes on bottom, the longer one goes on top, and you'll bolt it on there. So go ahead and get that bolted on. The torque specs, sorry, let me find the torque specs. Are as follows. So we're doing the 4.0 6-cylinder. So these are the thermostat housing bolts. 156 inch-pounds, which if you look up there, 1 foot-pound equals 12 inch-pounds. So that's what, 13 foot-pounds. I don't know why they didn't just put it that way. You might have a wrench that doesn't go that low. Maybe that's why. So that's the torque spec for that. And here is your fluid capacity. So we're doing the 6-cylinder, so it's going to be 10.5 quarts. So obviously you'll put your thermostat in your thermostat housing. Don't forget that. That's the whole point of this. So you'll torque it all down, put everything back, if you were tearing anything else out, like I was. And you will fill it up with water. It'd be good to flush out what's left in the engine casing. Fill it up with water. Again, follow your local codes and laws and everything, regulations. You'll get it up to operating temp, and then you'll flush it out and keep running water through until there's no more coolant coming out. And then you will turn it off, drain what's in there. You're going to do 5.25 quarts of antifreeze and 5.25 quarts of water. It might take a bit to burp basically this and get all the air out. So then over the next week or next couple of rides, whatever you're doing, you're going to watch your overflow tank and make sure that it stays full. Because if maybe there's an air bubble in there, it finally comes out, it'll come out into the overflow tank and then suck up coolant from there. So you want to watch that closely. You can also check the radiator cap and top it off every time that it's cool. So anyways, that is how you replace the thermostat and the thermostat housing on a 1999 Jeep Wrangler. This is the 4.0 liter 6-cylinder with the automatic transmission, if that makes a difference. So hopefully this was helpful, and thanks for watching.